Hello, my name is Corey. I'm with Creative Habitats Landscaping. I believe that the curb appeal of your new office building could be far more appealing. I went by there with some of my other designers and we looked at some of the elements of the design in that, and a lot of things we went, why is that there? And I'm going to show you some of the things that just stood out to us. But I believe that that building could be far better looking if you simply rearrange some of the plants that are there so it highlights and frames the building instead of hides the building. Let me take you on a tour of what your current landscape will look as it matures and how your landscape can look if you hire Creative Habitats Landscaping to rearrange it so it's not just some plants that are put out there, but it's some plants that become the attire that your building wears for a job interview, and it gives the best possible impression for the people that drive by there. So here's your landscape right now with the layout that you currently have. Let's zoom in here and talk about some of those elements. So here we have boulders, a major aesthetic element of your landscape. Question I have. Here's a boulder with a bush planted in front of it, and this bush is going to get big. Here's a boulder with grasses planted in front of it. These grasses are going to get big. See the trees? These trees are going to get big. In other words, here's the boulders highlighted, and here's what's going to happen to them. They're all going to disappear. Here are some of the trees that you have. They're beginning to make your building disappear. Next slide that we're going to look at. Here are your trees. Okay, walk right down the road. This is the way those trees are going to get, but these are pre-teens. These are not fully grown and matured plants. This is going to be what those trees do to your building in the future. You've just built an amazing building. Why would you want to hide it behind your landscape? If we take the plants that are currently there, put them in this program, and we grow them up, we mature them, this is what you have. Right here. This is what the landscape you currently have is going to look like as it matures. So what if we took the plants that you have, rearranged them, so instead of hiding your building, it highlights your building? What would that look like? So here's our start point. And if we were to rearrange the plants that you have the Creative Habitats way, this is what it would look like. The taller trees that you have currently, which are going to hide the building, we would use them to highlight and frame the building. The blooming plants that you have scattered here and there, instead of having a little bit of color here and a little bit of color there, we would organize them so that it would give you the eye more of a pleasing view of a mass of color instead of speck of color here and there. The landscape would flow around the building instead of hiding the building. We would take the boulders, we would arrange them so that highlighting the entry of the building, you could do an annual planting. We would take the loropetalum, use that loropetalum for a background that would actually accentuate a more beautiful annual planting. So we would rearrange these plants so that it would make your building look better. Here's another thing that I saw. You have a sign, and then there's sort of this, hey, let's put some plants right here. It's very anticlimactic in terms of how it hides your sign. Let's take that principle and apply it to the front of your building. So if we took the front of your building, here's your building, and we put one little door here. This is not very grandiose in terms of highlighting the entry. You sort of go, huh? That's it? But as you know, you have a far more elegant and grandiose entry to your building that highlights it instead of just leaves it going, there's something missing here. So instead of having this very small landscape to highlight your sign, why don't we do something that is a little bit more, it shows off your sign more. We spread out the plants that are already there. We give the opportunity to have annuals, these annuals here, which would be the same annuals that you would have in front of the building. Instead of little specks of color, you have masses of color that again are pleasing to the public eye. So at this point, you could leave what's there and you can have this, or you could rearrange it and you can have this. This fall, these plants will still not be rooted. It would be an ideal time to revise your landscape so it accentuates your building instead of hides your building. If you want intelligent design that will highlight your building, that in the future will frame your building, that will make your building look outstanding, call me, Corey Osteen at Creative Habitats Landscaping at 334-319-4223. That's 319-4223. Thank you so much.